Hello and welcome to the License to Chill podcast, the official Margaritaville podcast. My name is Ryan.
My name is Patrick. This is your weekly excursion away from whatever you're up to come hang out with us. Get you a little bit on island time.
Ooh.
Get you a conversation that you might enjoy. This is part of our It's My Job series. We're really enjoying interviewing people with interesting jobs that do cool things that we know nothing about.
Yeah, and this guy is very interesting. What a cool and dangerous job.
Oh, man. Buckle up for this one. This is a guest that is so cool. Our guest today is a professional bull rider that currently lives in Waxahachie, Texas. He was a PBR world champion. That's professional bull rider for the record. I was a PBR champion of another kind at 19. But at 19, he was the PBR world champion in 2016. And he has since gone on to ride bulls all across the world, including on the PBR Camping World Team Series, which is popping up all across the country this summer. Please hold on tight and welcome today's guest, professional bull rider Cooper Davis.
Cooper Davis, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. We catch you in New York. What are you out there for right now?
We are here for the Unleash the Beast series at Madison Square Garden. So bull riding going on in New York City.
That's incredible. When is that? Does that start this weekend? Tonight?
Yep. Tonight starts. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 7:45 tonight, 6:45 tomorrow, and 1:45 on Sunday.
Wow. How do you prep for something like that? I mean, I know how to prep for like an interview, like I do my research and
Probably
stuff.
the same, right?
Yeah. How do you prep for a competition like that?
You know, I've been prepping since I was 5 years old. I mean, this is what I wanted to do since I was that age. I watched it on TV, and that's kind of how I got into it. But I watched it on TV and spent a lot of time in the gym, spent a lot of time getting on practice bulls as a young guy, and now it's staying in shape and, trying to stay agile enough and loose enough to be able to show up and do your job on the weekend.
Yeah. How does that, like a Madison Square Garden show, differ from a typical show for you? Or is this basically a typical ride?
I don't think Madison Square Garden is ever typical.
No,
I think,
certainly not.
Everybody sees it as this iconic building, and it's just that. I mean, it's so iconic to be able to ride in a place like Madison Square Garden. We don't get to ride in front of fans all the time like this as well. I mean, you think about it, most of our fans are like, really rural areas, and but selling Madison Square Garden out is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's incredible. I'm curious too. We talked a little bit. I'm a Texan myself. I'm from outside of Dallas. I'm from Mansfield. And I know you're from Nacogdoches, right?
No, so I actually live in Dallas. I was born in Nacogdoches, but
oh, no way.
Yeah.
Where do you live in Dallas?
Yeah, so I used to work out in Mansfield.
Oh, no way. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we're about to do the Dallas thing where you say, Dallas, I'm outside of Dallas. I'm outside of this town. Where are you outside of that town? Where were you outside of Dallas?
So, I'm right by Dallas Love.
Oh, no way. You're pretty proper Dallas. Wow. Not too far. What did you do out in Mansfield? This is purely selfish.
I'm going to head out, guys.
What are you doing over there?
So I lived in Waxahachie for a while.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. My dad managed the Olive Garden at in Waxahachie, so I don't know if you ever went over there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep, we went there. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Small
gonna be
world.
good. Yeah, he says hey. Very cool. What's so funny is, so we're from the same exact area, and I do podcasts and comedy and random stuff, and you ride bulls, which I think is such a cool, intricate thing about Texas. There's so many different types of people in Texas that you don't even think about, really. I think a lot of people generalize Texas, but like what was it about growing up in Texas that brought you to what you're doing right now?
I grew up, my grandpa, he was always a cattle rancher, but never really had like a background in rodeo per se. So watching the PBR on TV, that's what really got me into it. And luckily my parents, they didn't want me to ride bulls, but luckily my sister married a guy that rode professionally. And I don't know, by the time I was probably 10, 12 years old, I was finally starting to talk my parents into letting me. And I was like, well, Clayton does it, so I should be able to. And long story short, that was maybe never would have rode bulls if my sister didn't marry that guy. So
do you have like a first? So your parents were did they take some convincing? Did your mom take some convincing to allow you out there? Yeah. Do you remember?
They were scared to death.
Yeah, was it? I'm sure they were probably more scared once you started.
No, they tried to keep me away from it as long as possible. Like, hey, we'll buy you everything else we need in all these other sports, but let's not ride bulls. And long story short, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I had to convince my mom to let me play t-ball. So,
Well, that's because I just swing the bat.
well, okay.
I've seen it.
It's me blindfolded. So, I mean, what was that first ride like? Not just for you, but also for your family.
Yeah, it was man, for my family, it was probably really worrisome. But for me, like I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I actually rode the bull the full 8 seconds, and I just remember thinking, man, that was so easy. I'm never going to fall off, and I'm going to be the best ever. Long story short, it was pretty quick to be humbled.
Yeah.
I got slammed after that pretty hard.
Yeah.
So just technically speaking, again, Patrick and I are not, in this world. So is it 8 seconds? Is that how long you need to be on to qualify, or what is that time frame?
Correct. Yeah, you have to ride the bull for 8 seconds. If you fall off any time before then, you get a zero, a disqualified ride, and basically, it's no good. So, yeah, you have to ride the bull a full 8 seconds, and that ride is judged on how hard the bull bucks, how in control you are throughout the ride, and degree of difficulty of the bull.
Wow.
That's so interesting. So could you kind of come off a ride and be like a little pissed off that the bull was a little more chill than you wanted him to be?
Yeah, that happens quite often. I mean,
Really?
there's times that you need a bull to like really buck hard to give you a chance to win, and they don't do it, and then you're like, well, I did my job, but the bull, he's half the score. So, yeah, luck of the draw comes into play quite often.
He wasn't bucking.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That's so fascinating. And you're again, we're complete rubes at this. So you're being judged on technique, you're being judged on obviously endurance, but people are judging you on the way you're holding the bull, the way you're, everything.
Yeah, how in control you are. I mean, like a lot of times you'll see guys get out of shape and just kind of like hanging off the side. Well, they're not going to be scored as many points because they weren't in control. But you see a guy that's really in control. He's really dominant throughout the whole ride, and his score is going to be a lot higher.
Wow.
Wow.
Where does your head go when you're on that bull? What's the mentality? Are you meditating? Are you thinking about that, or is it like a flow state situation? Is it instinctual? What could you relate being on a bull to mentally?
Man, I just think it's like any sport. If you have to get into that zone, and I have to get into that spot like 10 minutes before I get on. Like I'll go through the same routine in my head, and I'll, like I'm just like the baddest man on the planet for 10 minutes. That's how I feel.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
No. What is the biggest bull that you've ever ridden?
Man, there's a bull. His name was Rockefeller, and he was big. Like he was.
He sounds big.
He was just this big yellow bull and probably 2,100 pounds, and he's just kind of not a very good looking bull, but he was strong, and yeah, I got by him. But
Wow.
it was pretty intimidating in the chute.
And when you get bucked off a bull, what is? I mean, I can only imagine. I've fallen down before. I've never been thrown off a bull. What is that force like? Like, is there anything you can compare it to?
You think about being on a roller coaster and the seatbelt coming open sometimes. I mean, that's about the equivalence of it.
Oh
I
my
was at Madison Square
gosh.
Garden in 2020 and landed flat on my head and broke my neck, and put me out for about 6 months. So
You broke your neck?
I did, yeah. I broke my C6 and was in a neck brace for 6 months, but I think I came back and rode better than I ever have. So
Wow,
What
that's amazing.
was it that got you back out?
it's just part of the sport, really. I mean, it going into it, and accidents are going to happen, and you're going to get injured at some point in time. So I think everybody has it in the back of their mind that just adversity is going to happen, and you got to be tough coming back.
Yeah.
Sure.
How's the bull riding community? Is it? I know you guys are. It's kind of a solo competition, correct? And so you're out there against other people. Are you comrades with your friends, or are you guys competitive? I mean, there's definitely like a cowboy Texas element to it. So I don't know, how rootin' tootin' you get with each other, but I can imagine that there's probably a little bit of that there.
There is, man, and it's really cool because there's like no bad blood in the locker room. Everybody gets along. It's I always say it's the only sport that I've ever seen that like your competitor will come and give you a hand in the middle of what you're doing. Like if you need your bull's not standing right, they'll push him over. If you need help pulling your rope tight, I mean, they'll do that. So everybody's really pulling for each other. We've all lost friends doing this. So I think the last thing you want to do is kind of have bad blood with somebody and something happened to them. So everybody gets along and is pretty friendly.
And how often are you touring versus, right now you're in New York, how often are you touring versus performing in Texas?
We go to Texas three or four times a year. But, I think roughly about 35 to 40 weekends a year we're on the road.
Wow.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah. So we're going all over from LA to New York to Texas, Florida, really all over. And
Yeah.
a lot of time at home during the middle of the week, but weekends are usually spent riding bulls.
You spent some time out in Eagle, Colorado too, right? I think I read a little bit about that.
Yeah, I did. I went to a little bull riding there this summer that just something to kind of pass the time. We were coming back from Cheyenne, and it was me and my little boy, and we're like, hey, let's go to this little rodeo, and ended up winning it. So
That's so fun. That's so fun. Is your son getting into riding too?
no, I don't want him to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
No, anything but riding bulls, I'm good with.
Yeah.
I mean, how's that conversation? I mean, he probably sees you doing it, and it's the coolest thing in the world to him. Do you have to kind of ground him and tell him the realities of it? What's the strategy for this?
For me, it was he's asked, like, he'll tell me, like, hey, I'm riding bulls when I get older. Like, that's my job. I'm like, no, like, let's go get some golf clubs. We'll go play basketball, baseball, whatever.
Totally.
Well, then, there was one time I was like, I'm going to punk him out, and we're going to try it. And I took him to the practice pen, and this really big calf came in, and way bigger than what he was supposed to be getting on. And I was just going to say, go ahead and get on and go through the motions of it. And I thought he'd be scared. Wasn't scared at all. And at that point, I decided we're done playing the game.
Is it funny anymore?
Oh, yeah. He
He's
called your
got
bluff.
too much of me in him.
Yeah. You raised him right, I guess.
Yeah, that is your son.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Oh, man.
That is crazy. So you're out 35, 40 weekends a year. What does rest look like for you? I mean, you obviously probably basically have mandatory rest based on this job, right? So how much recovery time do you have to have after each ride?
Normally on the weekends after it's over with, Monday and Tuesday, you can take as a rest day. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're back in the gym trying to get ready for the next ride. But there's really a lot of times that you're never fully recovered riding bulls. Everybody's riding with a torn MCL or ACL or
Right.
Just a lot of different things that guys deal with that I guess most other sports would sit out for 6 months to do, but unless we ride, we don't get paid.
Right.
Sure.
And it probably is that luck where the one ride where you have like a mending ACL is the ride where your ACL is mostly tested by that bull, probably.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's always situations where, like, whatever it is that's bothering you at the time, you draw the bull that's absolutely worst possible scenario for that, and just have to figure out how to get by it.
Yeah,
right,
totally.
Right. And technique wise, I mean, I've seen bull riding before. Is it better to be a little like looser and kind of go with the flow of the bull, or is it better to be a little more like rigid, in order like to prevent any type of injury? Like what's the technique?
There's definitely a balance there. I mean, you have to be, I'd say, like, crisp with your moves, but at the same time, you have to be fluid with a bull and moving with them rather than trying to fight them pound for pound, because they're going to win every time.
Right.
If you do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like dancing. If you can, be one step following them, that's what you want to do. You want to follow whatever they're doing and be pretty quick about it.
Is there something that's happened during a ride that was like completely unexpected for you, or do you just go in just expecting the unexpected?
You go in expecting the unexpected. I mean, you can study our bulls. It's just like, studying an opponent in football or whatever. I mean, they might have things they normally do, but there's always element of surprise. And same with the animal. They're always going to do something that just a little bit tricky.
Yeah. So are there bulls that are infamous in the bull riding world? Like if you get paired up with a certain bull, like do you know, like, oh man, I'm in for it today?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely days like that, and there's days that just like any other. I mean, it's a little tougher to show up to work on some of those days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's like having a good judge or a bad judge. If you get you get in some trouble with the law.
Yeah.
Who's going to throw the book at you? Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a bull. His name's the Punisher, and his name's very fitting. He's just a really big, kind of scary bull, and he's got some weird moves, and he normally pulls guys down and hits them pretty hard. So,
Oh
Wow.
my gosh, I'm so stressed just talking to you.
That's incredible. I mean, this is maybe a little like woo woo, but like, what's the relationship you have with like bulls in general? Is it oppositional? Is it I respect this animal, I love this animal, what's the feeling about being on a bull? Do you just see him as an opponent?
no, I mean, there's so much love and respect for them.
Yeah.
A lot of them are, that's half of our score. So you have to have respect for them. And a lot of them are big pets. They're big babies. They're all mean, scary bulls. Some of our past world champions have been the biggest pets. They love to be scratched on. They have to have a bath before they, walk into the arena. I mean, they're pretty pampered pets.
Yeah. But they turn on, you turn on, and then you just go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're athletes. Their parents bucked. Their great grandparents bucked. I mean, now it's just like any pedigree show animal, except these are just athletes.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you have animals of your own? Do you have horses or bulls or dogs or anything like that?
Well, I'm gonna surprise you. I've got a cat.
You got a cat?
Like, yeah,
Cooper's a cat guy. That's really sweet.
I am, man. It's a joke, but I'm a cat daddy.
That's amazing.
What kind of cat?
She's just a little Persian, like ragdoll. She's cute though.
That's amazing.
My family, we just got a cat as well, and my entire life I've never had a cat before. I always thought they were the most like agile, like graceful animals, but they're little dopes. They're so
They're
funny.
little clumsy things. And,
Yeah.
she's they're pretty funny. Always into something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
In terms of other sports, is there anything else that you mentioned golf a little bit earlier? Do you play golf?
Yeah, I play golf quite a bit. Probably about like most people. I can go out there and enjoy myself and have a good time, but expectations are pretty low.
Nice. Yeah. Head on over to Walnut Creek over there. Yeah.
It's not real solid.
No. Yeah.
Well, Cooper, this is the Margaritaville podcast. We like to talk about, rest, relaxation, vacationing. With you traveling so much, you mentioned most weekends out of the year you're on the road. Do you find time during those stays to get out and explore a city?
We do, yeah. We get to explore quite a bit. And whenever I'm not riding bulls, a lot of times my wife's taking me on a trip. She loves to go to Cabo, loves to go to Paris. So normally on my off weekends, we're planning to do something like that.
Very
that's
cool.
awesome.
Where's one of your favorite spots to go?
Los Ventanas and Cabo. That's probably my favorite. And then we just got back from Aspen, so
Nice.
really, yeah. We travel quite a bit.
I was just over that way. My parents live about an hour from Aspen now, over in that area.
Nice.
So I was over there as well. Not as much snow as I was hoping for, but still very beautiful over there.
Yeah. No, it is. It's always cool to get out and try to ski a little bit. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah, are you? I mean, skiing is very much like a similar presence of mind kind of sport too, because you're just flying down that mountain.
Yeah.
Do you engage in other sports like that require that mental skill? Does it feel the same as riding a bull, or is it just completely a different feeling?
yeah, I mean it's some things are similar. I mean, like if you're skiing, to me, like a lot of people like to go really slow down the mountain when they're trying to figure things out. And me, I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and see how bad it can hurt. And then
Yeah.
we'll either be good at it or bad. And, so I've learned how to ski a little bit.
Yeah.
There you go.
One way out is through. Absolutely. Just go all the way down.
Yeah.
French fries all the way.
When you're out on vacationing or exploring a new city, are you itching to get back on a bull? I mean, it's not like most sports where you can pack your clubs with you or a tennis racket or whatever and play wherever you are. So what is that desire like to get back into the ring, get back on a bull?
I'm able to turn the switch off, and I think
Cool.
that's one reason that I've been able to be successful. Is a lot of guys they'll focus on it so much that they really don't know how to do anything else and enjoy other things, and it just kind of takes over them. So for me, being able to turn the switch off, get away, and not saying don't go to the gym and work out and be present that way, but being able to turn the switch off mentally is pretty important to me.
I mean, I also, I know, I mean, this sport is like, your mortality is like you're face to face with it every time you go out there, right? It's so intense. I'm sure there's this feeling of like, it's like, how long do you stay at the table, right? What are your thoughts on that? How do you feel about that? Like, do you it's probably hard to just retire out of nowhere, but it's like, you don't want to retire after you have to retire, right? So what's your mentality currently with riding?
So for me, I've taken this first half, basically our individual season, and I'm just doing the broadcasting with CBS now and
Cool.
CBS Sports. So I'm able to take and prolong my career, I feel like, and be in better shape over a period of 5 more years and getting on a third of the bulls that I was getting on doing that. So, normally 30 to 35 is when guys really are out of their prime. And I feel like if I can get on 30 bulls a year instead of 130, I'm liable to last a lot longer.
Yeah, that's really, really smart. So you've been broadcasting too. Do you like broadcasting and you sitting in the booth and holding the mic and stuff like that?
Yeah, man, I like it. It's a lot different. You're just sitting there and you don't want to say anything bad about your buddies when they do something wrong, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you have to be informative. So there's a learning curve there.
Sure.
Totally, yeah. Have you gotten any tips? Have you learned anything yourself when it comes to broadcasting? We certainly like talk for a living as well. It can be really hard to start. Like we've definitely had our share of mistakes.
Yeah, so I was like super shy as a kid. Like I didn't talk unless somebody absolutely forced me to. So, most people growing up, they would have never thought that I'd be in a broadcast booth. It's quite the change.
That's amazing.
I love it. Well, when are you out in LA next?
So usually around August, we'll be in LA.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna hit you up. We want to come out and see
We're
you.
gonna come watch you.
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds like
Yeah.
a blast. Where
Yeah.
can people follow you and find your stuff?
You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and yeah, it's just Cooper Davis on Instagram. I think it's Cooper TDAV is my handle.
Great. And you're going all over the country this year. Do you go internationally too?
Yeah, we'll go to Canada every now and then. We've been to Australia. Some of the guys that flew down to Brazil. That's where majority of our competition is. I think there's as many guys from Brazil now as America.
Oh wow!
Awesome.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh, that's
Incredible.
amazing. Well, Cooper, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time.
Yep. No, thank you guys. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Sam. This is a blast. Have a good luck out there this weekend. Have a
Yeah.
good time.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Patrick, that was Cooper Davis. Very, very cool guy.
Yeah, I had to put on some deodorant after that. Made me sweat. Made me sweat. Could not be me. But it was
Terrifying.
very cool to talk to him, and what a cool opportunity to hear such a different perspective and such an incredible mindset when it goes into something so scary. I really, really, really admired that.
I know. I could never do what he does to anybody that does. Fins up to you.
Oh, yeah.
What a wild, wild thing. But
Fins up to you after the ride.
Yes, after. then you get your fins up. Patrick, something we like to do here on the show is we talk about something we did each week that was very Margaritaville. What is something that you have done that is very Margaritaville this week?
Well, I'll tell you something. I am preparing for a very exciting concert this Thursday. We are going to the Keep the Party Going tribute concert.
Yep.
Jimmy Buffett tribute. The Coral Reefers are going to be playing with all sorts of artists, from Paul McCartney to Pitbull to Bon Jovi to Brandy Carlisle. There's going to be so many cool people there. We cannot wait to go. So I've just been pre-gaming. I've been listening to my favorite Buffett songs, been driving around, listening to some music, appreciating some songs I hadn't quite appreciated before.
Yeah.
Or like hearing them in a new light. Really
Yeah.
excited about. So.
I love that.
What
I
about
love
you,
that.
Ryan? What have you done that's Margaritaville?
Well, along with you in getting ready for that celebration, I feel like at the end of that concert, I'm going to need to come down a little bit from it.
Yeah.
So I started doing something called Sunday Fun Days.
Whoa!
Where on Sundays I'm doing something fun for the day.
That's massive, and I'm excited you just found that, Ryan.
I'm coining it now. I don't think anyone's ever heard of this or thought of this. Sunday Fun Days.
Certainly a novel idea.
It rhymes.
Yeah, it does rhyme.
And this Sunday, I think I might just maybe go to like the pool or something.
Whoa.
Yeah. It might be a little cold to go to the pool, but I think some pools are opening.
30 seconds. You take 30 seconds. Look, we just talked to a guy who rides bulls for a living.
Yeah.
We can sit in a little bit of a cold pool.
Yeah, if I can't jump in a pool for 30 seconds and this guy rides bulls for a living, there's something wrong with me.
Put it in perspective. Well, I'm excited to hear about your Sunday fun day, Ryan. But until then, it's time to check out. So until next time, I'm Patrick McDonald.
And I'm Ryan Middledorf. We will see you all next week.
License to Chill is the official Margaritaville podcast, produced by Tamara Baldanza-Decker, Courtney Watkins, and Kirsten Winquest. Art by Tom Boyd. Music by Aaron McAnally and Mick Utley. Additional resources provided by Coleman Sisson. New episodes are released every Monday. Subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts.